We weren't allowed to leave the building under any circumstances. I tell myself that's why the kids stayed out there screaming. I've never told anyone about this, not my coworkers, not the police, not even the friend I was living with at the time. I think part of it was me afraid that if I said it out loud, someone would tell me we handled it incorrectly, and I don't think I could have lived with that. I was working the night shift at a fast food place in the Midwest. I won't say which one, and I won't say the town. It was one of those locations right off the highway, surrounded by a gas station, a closed motel, and a stretch of road that goes dark almost immediately. After midnight, it felt like the place only existed for whoever happened to be awake inside it. There were 3 of us working that night, me, the shift manager, and another kid who mostly stayed on the grill. After 12, things slowed to nothing. The lobby lights were off, the fryers popped occasionally, the HVAC kicked on and off with a hollow sound that echoed through the back hallway. The rule was posted in the office and drilled into us during training. No one leaves the building overnight. Crime had been bad, other locations had been hit. Someone had stolen a register once. So if something happened, you stayed inside and called it in. That was the rule. At around 1 a.m, the drive-through sensor chimed in our headsets. I leaned toward the mic and said, "I can help you whenever you're ready," the same way I always did. No response. I waited a few seconds and said it again. Still, nothing. On the security monitor, I could see a car pulled up at the speaker, engine running, headlights on. It wasn't pulling forward. Probably screwing around, the grill kid said. He didn't look up. The manager glanced at the screen and said, "If they don't order, they'll leave." Then the sound came through the headset. At first, I thought it was interference. The drive-through mic picked up a lot of junk, wind, engines, distant radios. This was high and broken, cutting in and out. It didn't sound right, but I couldn't place it. Then it settled into something steady. Crying. Not loud, not dramatic, just thin and continuous, like someone who'd already worn themselves out. I pulled one ear cup off and looked at the manager. "Are you hearing that?" I asked. He frowned and leaned closer to the monitor. "Could be a phone," he said, "or someone inside the car." The crying stopped for a second, then started again, sharper this time. I zoomed the camera in. The image pixelated, then cleared just enough for me to see movement in the back seat. A shape, small, jerking unevenly. "That's not an adult," I said. The manager stared at the screen for a long time. "We don't know what we're looking at," he said. "What do you mean we don't know?" the grill kid asked. His voice cracked when he said it. "We don't know," the manager repeated. "We don't jump to conclusions." The crying came through the headset again, and the drive-through timer ticked upward on the screen. Somewhere behind us, the receipt printer chirped even though no one had placed an order. I zoomed in again. The kid's face came into view, red, wet, mouth open, eyes squeezed shut, strapped into a car seat in the back. No one was in the front. "There's a kid out there," I said. My voice sounded strange to me, too even. The manager exhaled slowly. "We can't leave the building. You know that." "So what do we do?" I asked. "I'll call it in," he said. "That's what we're supposed to do." He dialed non-emergency and explained the situation carefully. He emphasized that we were inside, that we were following policy, that we didn't know the full context yet. When he hung up, he said they'd send someone when they could. "How long?" I asked. They didn't say. The crying kept going. Time did something strange then. The drive-through clock kept counting, but my body stopped matching it. I noticed details I'd never cared about before. The grease smell turning sour. The way the soda machine clicked every few minutes like it was resetting itself. The hum of the lights setting into my chest. I kept thinking, Any second now, someone will say something, like there was a script we'd missed and a line was coming. I picture the training videos, the laminated flowcharts in the office, all the little boxes that told you what to do if X happened: fire, robbery, power outage. There wasn't one for a crying kid in a car. That absence felt intentional, like the system had already decided what mattered. Another car pulled into the drive-thru behind the first one. The driver leaned out and shouted something we couldn't hear. After a few seconds, they backed out and drove away. The kid kept crying. At some point, I realized I was waiting for someone to tell us it was okay to help. That if no one ever said that, we could stand there all night and still say we'd done what we were supposed to do. The sound changed after a while. Not quieter, just weaker, like the kid was running out of air. Their head tipped forward, then lolled to the side. Then it stopped. For a moment, none of us spoke. Silence filled the headset, thick and wrong, like the room had inhaled and was waiting. My first thought wasn't relief, it was panic that the noise was gone. I stared at the screen, willing the kid to move more than they were, to give us something undeniable. The manager swallowed hard and said, "That doesn't mean anything," too quickly, like he was arguing with himself. I realized then how badly I wanted the crying to start again. As long as it continued, we were responding to a situation. Once it stopped, whatever happened next would belong to us. The screen showed the kid still strapped in, chest moving shallowly, mouth closed. "I'm going out there," I said. The manager hesitated, just long enough for me to notice. Then he nodded. "I'll open the back. Go quick." The door cracked open, cold rushed in. The alarm chirped once before he shut it off. Outside, the parking lot was empty and still. The car sat idling like it had been placed there deliberately. Up close, everything felt wrong. Too calm, too careful. I opened the back door and reached in. The kid was real, heavy, cold through their jacket. After that, things blurred. Someone wrapped them in a blanket. The police arrived. An ambulance came. They asked us questions. The manager answered most of them. He kept using the word policy. Later, I heard one of the officers say the timeline didn't quite line up. The report called it abandonment, said the parent must have stepped away briefly. No one asked how long we'd waited. I quit a few weeks later without giving a reason. Years have passed, and I still listen for that drive-through chime when I'm half asleep. I still check back seats when I pass parked cars. Sometimes I hear that thin crying layered over the sound of a fryer. We weren't allowed to leave the building under any circumstances. If someone was watching us that night, they learned exactly how long it takes before circumstances finally stop mattering.